to the Unitarian Coastal Fellowship. This is a place where many paths meet, where we honor the rich tapestry of spiritual traditions, and where all are welcome to responsibly explore their own connection to the sacred. I am Harriet Altman, Social Justice Chairperson. My pronouns are she, her, joined with Lori Mott as Worship Associate today. Thank you to accompanist Megan Smith, Karen Baggett, song leader, and Brittany Steimenger and Barb Thomas doing the AV magic in Zoom today. So if you're visiting us for the first or second time, would you raise your hand so that we can welcome you? Would you like for us to come around so you can introduce yourself? Can we do that?
Hello, I'm visiting my daughter, Jean Little, and my name is Chris Landon. I'm from Wilmington, North Carolina.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So, hello.
Hey, I'm Katie McDonald. This is my second time being here. I live in Beaufort, and I'm Helene's neighbor.
Thank you, Katie, for coming. Any others? Anybody else? We get the people that are on Zoom over here. So, who have we got on Zoom today?
Okay, we have the Marsh family, Dan Phillips, Karen Reddy, and Kay and Darrell Lynch.
Thank you. Welcome. Everybody wave at the people on. Okay, so we do have some announcements today. First of all, if you don't have plans for Thanksgiving, there will be folks meeting here at 2 o'clock. It's a potluck, so come join us. And for more information, you can talk to Jo Ellen Essex. Jo Ellen's right there, raising her hand. Now we have an announcement about, so due to the generosity of an anonymous donor, UCF has 2 automatic external defibrillators, AEDs. These devices have been mounted. One's in the social hall to the left of the kitchen, pass-through. The other is in the Sally B. White Center near the fire extinguisher across from room 7. There will be a short training on the use of this device immediately after church on December 21st, given by the Assistant Chief of the Morehead City Fire and EMS. And until then, if it's needed, do not hesitate to take it out of the box and bring it to the patient's side and open the lid. The AED will give simple verbal instructions, and the device will not shock a patient unless it is necessary. Also, Helene Kelly wanted me to remind you that next Sunday at 11:45, following the service, there'll be another meeting of the Deaf Cafe in the Sally White Center conference room. Sign up is on the bulletin board. This is a safe place to talk about thoughts and feelings that people may have about their last stages of their life or their life of family and friends. So if you want more information, Helene Kelly, raise your hand. There you go. And lastly, but most important, if you are a member and have not voted on offering Reverend Leslie a settled ministerial agreement, then you need to stick around today after service. We'll talk about this more later at the end, but please stay and do that after our service. Everybody needs to stick around. Yes, thank you, Susan. Okay, so now we'll center ourselves here in this sacred space and let music deepen the way.
Thanks, Megan. We come to spiritual community this morning with many hopes in our hearts. The hope for inspiration, the hope for comfort, the hope for renewal. In this time and space, may inspiration water our thirsty souls. In this time and space, may comfort blossom in the gardens of our hearts and bring us sweet relief. In this time and space, may renewal course through us, as electric as a surge of energy, as serene as a nourishing meal, as contagious as joy, and bring us vitality and rejuvenation. May our time together honor all the hopes we hold within. May our time together bless us with the gifts of inspiration, comfort, and renewal. And now let us speak these words as one. Come, let us worship together. Hallie's going to come up and light our chalice for us. We light our chalice knowing that our hope and passion are needed to change the world. We bring different gifts to the work, but we come together in one faith that what we do makes a difference, both to our world and in ourselves. Bless you. We also light our peace candle to remind ourselves that peace is a process that requires work, that peace is not merely an absence of conflict, but the presence of justice. Please rise in body or spirit for opening hymn number 21 in the gray hymnal, For the Beauty of the Earth.
So each week we make some space and time to be human and celebrate our joys and grieve our sorrows together. This is a reverent, sacred moment in our worship service where we witness each other in our moments of joy and our moments of sorrow. Please hold the quietness of this ritual together, centering yourself into this community ritual. Should you wish to share a personal joy or sorrow about a person or persons in your life, there is a paper to fill out and a place in the basket on the way to the chalice. After our ritual, I will read these personal joys and concerns to the congregation. You may now line up over by the wall and select stones or shells from the basket to represent, or you can line up here as well, to represent your joys and concerns and gently place them into the chalice of water. We welcome your joys and concerns with our stones and water ritual. So first, I would like to just say, let us hold all those in our hearts that are living in fear or whose lives have already been affected by the ICE and the Border Control officers that are traveling throughout our state and in our country. We pray for an end to this and are grateful for how our country has always been made up of immigrants from all over the world. And so now I'll read these. Maria Lundgren said, in gratitude for the dear people of all ages who scrambled around picking up beads when my lanyard fell apart last Sunday. And Helene says, loving to all the dead and injured children in Lebanon and Gaza as daily strikes go on. The Bijou family, thankful for the beauties of this world, thankful for strangers standing up for strangers. And last, Kai said, my mother's birthday is tomorrow, so happy birthday to Kai's mother. Where's Kai? Let me see her. So, let's see, where are we now? By the light of this chalice, we hold in our hearts all who struggle, those we name and those we do not. May you feel our compassion. By the light of this chalice, we open our hearts to joy, our joy and the joy of others, spoken and unspoken. We join you in celebration. By the light of this chalice, we hold all that remains silent, the burdens too heavy to speak, the blessings too tender to name. May the care of this community offer you kindness and hope. By the light of this chalice, let us together take a moment to hold in our hearts all known to us and unknown who are struggling. For the sorrows and concerns shared here, may you feel our sympathy and compassion. Take a moment to open our hearts to joy, ours or that of others, known to us and unknown. We join you in celebration. And for all that remains unspoken, both joy and sorrow, may the caring of our community offer you both kindness and hope. May you know love, may you know peace, and may you be safe. So now I would like to invite any of the young people that are here up to the front. Or young and old, people of all ages, whoever wants to come up to the front. We'll give you each an acorn. Yeah, thank you, Sarah. Can y'all hear me? This microphone, right? They came out of my yard. I can't really say. They're just natural. So I'm going to talk about something really powerful today, hope. And first, I have a question. Have you ever hoped for something? Yes? Uh-oh.
My acorn with worms inside.
Uh-oh. And did the thing that you hoped for happen? No, it didn't? Okay.
I hope my father had a great birthday.
So that hopefully will happen. I think that hope is kind of like these. You pass around so I gave you the acorns, and you take, and if you have enough, y'all can, I'm just reading my parentheses now, sorry. So what do you think this acorn hopes to be someday? Do y'all see that? Is there a thing up there?
On a tree.
Yeah.
Not eaten much.
Yeah. It hopes to. Here's why acorns remind. Just dropped this. Walked away with it. So what does. Perfect.
Not dirt, soil. It's just dirt
Began with hope, with someone's imagination of what could be, plus action to help it grow to life. That's the power of hope. So now, we can sing the children to their religious education classes with the blessing song. Yeah, you can keep the acorn.
Matters what you do, what you know about God is what you
Let us deepen into silence for a time of meditation and the prayers of your own heart. We will begin with 3 deep breaths, enter into a silence for a few minutes, and music will bring us out of the meditation. One breath in and out. Breathe in and out. One more time, breathe in and out. At this time, we'd like to invite the choir, led by Karen Baggett, up to sing a special song.
Thank you, guys. That was awesome. Love that. Okay. Put these. So I knew I wanted to do a social justice themed service, but that's a very broad subject. So what message or messages did I want to convey? I wanted the message to remind us of one of our UU principles, respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. What is our role in it? And lastly, but most important, I wanted the message to be one of hope, because we all need hope. There's a famous line by Paulo Coelho in his novel, The Alchemist, and when you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. So my initial inspiration came from Joanna Macy, a teacher, author, scholar, and engaged Buddhist whose advocacy for the environment and social change spanned several decades. The title of her book, Active Hope, written by her and a physician named Chris Johnston, caught my attention. What is active hope? I love the way this was described in the book. Hope without action is naive optimism. Action without hope can fail because it doesn't believe in its goals. So we're often feeling overwhelmed these days with so many scary things happening at once. Climate change, income inequality, polluted air, polluted water, skyrocketing healthcare costs, increasing childcare costs, racism, sexism, dismantling of democracy, etc. Sometimes we say or hear others say, Don't go there. It's too depressing. Yes, we all need a break from worrying, but our greatest danger is ignoring what's happening. So how do we get through these tough times and still feel hopeful? On October 1st, we lost one of the most loved and inspiring people. I'll get emotional. The world has ever known. And I'm speaking of Dr. Jane Goodall. I had always admired her and been aware of how amazing she was, but unfortunately she passed away at the age of 91. Excuse me. Since then, I've been kind of obsessed with finding clips of her speaking, and she actually did an interview last March, which was recorded with the idea it wouldn't air until after she had passed away. She has truly won my heart. You can find Jane's final interview on Netflix. It's called The Final Interview. I highly recommend watching it. Anyway, I had already planned to make this service about hope, actually active hope, and therefore I decided to focus on Jane Goodall as our inspiration as she lived her life spreading messages of hope and respect for the interdependent web of all existence. Jane was passionate about wildlife from a very early age and read avidly about the natural world. Her dream was to go to Africa, and her mother encouraged her to work hard, and she could make it happen. So through various jobs, waitressing, etc., she saved the money to go to Kenya and was advised to try and meet the famous paleontologist, Dr. Louis Leakey. As it turned out, he had recently lost his secretary and hired Jane as his secretary at the National Museum of Nairobi, which eventually led to her studies in Tanzania. Her research, which began in 1960, initially living in a tent, made groundbreaking discoveries about chimpanzee behavior, including their use of tools. An observation that has been credited with redefining what it means to be human. Goodall's work challenged the assumption that tool use was unique to humans, paving the way for further research into animal cognition. Jane is known as a British primatologist, anthropologist, and for her 60 years of studying chimpanzees in Tanzania's Gombe Stream National Park. But Jane grew to love the chimpanzees, then wanted to protect them, then wanted to protect their environment, which grew to protecting the environment for all of us. In order to take action, one must care, one must be inspired, and fall in love with what's around you. We saw an example of this last week when Penny and Mark Hooper did their service about the ocean, and we saw their love of the ocean and how they're very involved in protecting the ocean. So let's view this little clip of how Jane's love of the chimpanzees motivated her into activism.
Why did you choose chimpanzees? I didn't. I went to Africa with the goal of studying any animal to be out in the wild. If somebody had said a dormouse, I would have jumped at it if it was out in the wild somewhere. It was meeting Dr. Louis Leakey, famous paleontologist, anthropologist, and he told me he'd been looking for 10 years for somebody to go and study chimpanzees in the wild. Nobody had. A couple of people had tried, it didn't work out. So, how lucky. A, I was given the animal most like us, and B, I was the first person, so everything I saw was new and exciting. And then, of course, seeing chimpanzees using and making tools, that was the breakthrough. I think perhaps the most important things we could learn from chimpanzees is they're very good at reconciliation after conflict. We don't seem to be very good at that. We hold grudges, we fight wars, we have conflict all over the world today. So if we were a little bit better, just making things up without continuing to fight about them or hold grudges. I was totally happy out in the forest with the chimpanzees, and I wanted to stay there forever. I mean, there was nothing to make me leave. But when I realized that chimpanzee numbers were dropping and forests were being destroyed, then I knew I had to leave what I loved to try and do something. I didn't know what to do. So my mission and my passion is to give people hope that if we get together soon, we know what we should be doing to slow down climate change and loss of biodiversity, but we're continually up against vested interests of corporations and governments. We just have to be prepared to fight for what's right, not in a violent way. And so my passion doesn't come from anywhere except concern for the future.
So though we associate her with many years of studying and living among the chimpanzees, she also worked tirelessly throughout her life to raise awareness about threats to wildlife, promote conservation, and inspire a more harmonious, sustainable relationship between people, animals, and the natural world. During her life, Jane authored more than 27 books for adults and children and was featured in numerous documentaries and films. Her latest publication, The Book of Hope, a survival guide for trying times, has been translated into more than 20 languages. There's a beautiful documentary produced by National Geographic called Jane Goodall, The Hope, that I hope to show here soon, if I can get permission to do that from here and National Geographic. She founded the Jane Goodall Institute in 1977, initially to support the research at Gombe National Park. But now there are 25 offices operating diverse programs around the world. In 1991, Jane founded Roots and Shoots, her global humanitarian and environmental program for young people of all ages. The initiative began with just 12 high school students in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. Today, Roots and Shoots is active in over 100 countries, including chapters in the United States. The members are involved in effecting positive change for animals, the environment, and their local communities. I recently learned that she had been traveling over 300 days a year to spread her message, actually up until her recent death. She expressed in some of her interviews that the older she got, the harder she had to work, due to the urgency and how strongly she believed in her message. Throughout her life and remarkable career, Jane inspired generations of scientists, brought hope to countless people from all walks of life, and urged us all to remember that every single one of us makes a difference every day. It is up to us as to the kind of difference we make. So what were her reasons for hope? So I got this information out of her book called The Book of Hope, and it's, of course, paraphrased from that book. So the first reason she gave was the amazing human intellect, the part of our brain that reasons and solves problems. And she said she had to put intellectual instead of intelligent. She said an intelligent animal would not destroy its own home. In one of her interviews, she said there seems to be a disconnect between our clever brains and the human heart. But she thinks this is changing. And if we get together and join forces and use our intellect and play our part, each one of us, we can find ways to slow down climate change and species extinction. As individuals, we make a difference every day, and millions of our individual ethical choices and how we behave will move us toward a more sustainable world. The second reason she gave was the resilience of nature. Nature has shown its ability to recover and regenerate, even after severe destruction, emphasizing that damaged ecosystems can be restored with time and help. She pointed to examples like a tree surviving a nuclear blast and the comeback of the American bison, and stressed that while nature is resilient, it does have its limits. Third reason is the determination and energy of young people around the world. So I'm sure we all have heard of Greta Thunberg. That's an example who's traveled around the world speaking about climate change. She's just one of many examples of young people that are out there doing great things. And we can all do our best to encourage and support these young people as they stand up against climate change and social and environmental justice. For example, her organization, Roots and Shoots, continues to grow and do great work around the world by connecting young people to nature, growing their love and connection, which then leads to action. She talked about one of her visits to Tanzania where Roots and Shoots began. As the event wrapped up, everyone got together and shouted, "Together we can, together we will." This became the way that all of those meetings started ending, and she began ending many of her lectures that way. And the last reason she gave was our indomitable spirit, the capacity for empathy and cooperation that she's witnessed worldwide. Our desire and ability to connect with others fuels our hope and keeps us motivated. Many of the recent rallies that some of us have participated in are a great example of this. And I thought about how even being here together in this space also definitely fuels our spirit. In closing, I would like to share this last little video that gives us a little more of an overview of some of her work, the interconnectedness of people and nature, her message of hope, and how each of us can make a difference.
In 1960, a young British woman ventured into the forests of Africa to follow her childhood dream, to find a way to watch free wild animals living their own undisturbed lives. She left everything familiar behind and ended up giving the world a remarkable window into our closest living relatives. She was me. I wanted to come as close to understanding animals as I possibly could. We are continuing our research at Gombe. It's the longest running study of any non-human animal, and we're using some exciting new technology to learn more about chimpanzee ranging patterns and the state of the forest. And this helps to inform decision makers on action to be taken to protect chimpanzees, their habitats, and the other creatures that live there. I flew in a small plane over Gombe National Park, and I was absolutely horrified at what I saw. So quickly, it seemed, the environment outside the national park had been utterly destroyed. The trees had gone. The land was over-farmed and infertile. They were struggling to survive. And that's when I realized that unless we helped the people to improve their lives, there was no way we could even try to save the precious chimpanzees. This was when we started Take Care or Takari, a community-centered conservation project. Everywhere I went, I met young people who seemed to have lost hope. They all said more or less the same thing. We feel like this because we think we've compromised our future. And so that led into our program for youth, Roots and Shoots. The main message of Roots and Shoots is that every one of us makes a difference every single day. The program has now become a movement that's in 100 countries around the world. One of the things that the Jane Goodall Institute does that I feel is really most important is to try and give people hope, to help people understand that every single day we live, we can make a difference. And together, with everybody making a difference, we can change the world.
Okay, please rise in body or spirit for hymn number 1028, The Fire of Commitment, in the Teal Hymnal.
From the light of days remembered burns a beacon bright and clear, guiding hands and hearts and spirits into faith set free from fear. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with the assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the stories of our living rings a song both brave and clear, calling pilgrims still to witness to the life of liberty. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin. From the dreams of youthful vision comes a new prophetic voice, which demands a deeper justice built by a courageous choice. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and our future can begin.
What a beautiful song. Each month, the Social Justice Committee selects a local nonprofit to share the plate with UCF. All non-pledge contributions in the collection plate or online are split between the nonprofit and UCF. For the month of November, the recipient is UCF Holiday Giving, the gift bags we provide, the family we sponsor, etc. Please give as generously as you can to support this worthwhile cause. I invite the greeters forward to collect today's offering. Please join in blessing this offering with hymn number 402, From You I Receive. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live. Please join me in reading our chalice extinguishing words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. And now in Espanol. Extinguiso este llama, eterno la luz de la verdad, el calor de comunidad, o el fuego de nuestro compromiso. Estos los vemos en el corazón hasta que estemos juntos otra vez.
So before I say the closing words, we're going to not form a circle today. You can blame Susan, just kidding you. So they want everybody to remain seated because immediately after there's going to be a congregational meeting that I'll explain after I do my closing words. So together, using hope as our guide, let's move forward with purpose, compassion, and unity, trusting that each of us carries a spark that can help light the way. Now together, please say these words with me. Together we can, together we will, together we must. Thanks. And may you all have a peaceful Thanksgiving. I want to add that. But so the meeting that all members and interested friends are encouraged to remain for the Board of Trustees special congregational meeting, which will take place immediately, right now. Your participation is requested even if you have already cast your vote online. The sole purpose of this meeting is to finalize the voting process by members regarding the offering of called ministry to Reverend Leslie Runnels. The outcome of the vote will be announced at the conclusion of this brief but significant meeting. I'll turn it over to Susan. Thank you, everybody. Thanks.
That's all right. That's all right. We were going to keep the chalice lit, but we'll go ahead and relight it. Can you all hear me? How about that? Okay. Thank you. So today is obviously a very big day for all of us. In just a little while, we'll know whether or not Reverend Leslie will be our settled minister. Here's how we'll proceed. First, Susan Fetzer, chair of the Contract to Call team, a team that has been working hard for months to get us to this point, will detail exactly what this means. Then anyone who has not yet voted will be given a ballot. While the ballots are being counted and Reverend Leslie is informed of the results, Karen will lead us in a song or two. Then Reverend Leslie will come into the sanctuary and announce her decision, which will be based on the percentage of positive votes. Okay, Susan Fetzer. Oh, good.
All right. So this special congregational meeting was called by the Board of Trustees for the purpose of voting to call Reverend Leslie Runnels as our settled minister. Special congregational meetings require a quorum of 50% of membership, and those who have been members for at least 30 days are eligible to vote. Friends may express their desires on a friend's ballot, and these will be tallied separately. Last spring, the Board of Trustees appointed a Contract to Call team to help the congregation assess its collaborative ministry. And I'd like to thank the rest of the Contract to Call team. Lee Harrison and Amy Jones are here today, and also Devin Merkley and Philip Strickland. We had a dedicated team that worked hard in this process of introspection and analysis. After completion of the process, which involved the small group meetings many of you participated in, the board and Reverend Reynolds have endorsed transitioning from the limited term contract currently in place to settled or called ministry. While the current contract is between Reverend Reynolds and the board, a ministerial call is the decision of the congregation. If the congregation approves this question and Reverend Reynolds accepts the call, we can expect that this transition will promote a deeper connection than a limited term contract can allow. So the question on the ballot is, the congregation of the Unitarian Coastal Fellowship will extend the call to Reverend Leslie Reynolds to be its settled minister, and then you vote yes or no. Thank you. Who needs a ballot? Anybody need a ballot this morning?
Anybody?
Okay. Adam wants a... Okay. You have to... No. Fill out a ballot. And then the secretaries are going to count the votes, and Susan and I will go talk with Leslie.
Thank you all to those of you who already voted. Yes. It's wonderful. Oh, great.
Over here, friends. Everybody have a pen? There's pens out here in the lobby.
If you'd like to join the singing, they are all in the gray hymnal. And we're going to start with number 95. This is optional, but I'd love to hear you all. There's more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. There is more love somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more love, more hope. There is more more joy. There is more joy somewhere. There is more joy somewhere. I'm gonna keep on till I find it. There is more joy somewhere. Thank you. All right, how about 131, Love Will Guide Us. Love will guide us, truth has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard nights. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us, truth is guide us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard nights. All right, I have no idea how long they're going to need to count votes. I think a lot of people did vote early, but who knows? Let's do Spirit of Life, 123. We'll sing it through twice. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, turn to me, come to me. One more? Yeah. Pardon? Fire of Commitment. What number? Oh, I don't have the 1028 in the Teal book. Oh. Are we ready? Oh.
So Lauren just let me know that the votes have been counted. They've gone to tell Leslie what the results are, and so we're just waiting on Leslie's decision. So cue up another one.
Okay. Fire commitment 1028 in the Teal book. It's getting a workout today. From the light of days, remember, burns a beacon bright and clear, guiding hands and hearts and spirits into faith set free from fear. When the fire of commitment sets our mind and soul ablaze, when our hunger and our passion meet to call us on our way, when we live with deep assurance of the flame that burns within, then our promise finds fulfillment and the future.
Now, in typical fashion, let's make that circle that we always do, because I think this is a good time to make that circle.